Hello everyone, so today I'm gonna need you to go get a snack and a drink because it's going to be a long one. Enough said. This is my journal that I did for my Europe trip in 2022. I know it's been so long. It literally took me like 6 months to even start it, and then it took me like a year to even complete it. So it's been complete for quite some time, but I just never had the time to actually do this. And I think from my Advent high, I finally have like a little bit of time. I decided to finally make all the videos that I've been wanting to do. So I wanted to go through with you all of my memories from my trip and all my spreads. Be gracious with me because I didn't find my style up until like the middle, if not like a third way through. So it is like, you can definitely tell when I find my style of what I wanted for this, but I didn't want to start over. I just wanted to leave everything as it was. And yeah, so I ended up using a Notebook Therapy cover, and this is the B5 size. It's pretty large. I would say this is about a foot by 8 inches, I think, if not 11 inches by 8. And it's holding on by a thread. I'm not even going to lie. I kind of love how chunky it is. I brought this to my meetup while I was actually finishing it, and everybody was just in love with how chunky it was. I didn't know that the chunkier it was, the better. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right in. For this trip, we actually ended up going to Italy and to France. We only actually ended up going to Paris, and then in Italy we actually went like around a little bit more. So sorry, I decided to make this a little bit brighter so it's a lot easier for everyone to see. So I had put that it belongs to the Javels, which is our last name. And then this one, I was basically using anything and everything that I had up in my room that I had not touched in a really long time. So this is actually from like a really old kit of mine, and it says, if little Jess and Drew only knew what 2022 would bring, care to go through, flip to start. And I put I love you in the 3 different languages over here. And over here, we had actually flew to New York first. It was actually just much cheaper for us to do that. I would highly recommend it because we ended up flying to New York, and from New York we were only there for like an hour and a half, and we had like a direct flight over to Paris. And the flight was only... No, I'm just kidding. We stayed overnight. I'm already forgetting. We stayed overnight at a place, and we actually had like this amazing cab driver. Oh my gosh, he was so great. And yeah, so this was the cab that we were in. He had drove us through Times Square, and he had like stopped to like help us get food because we had arrived like really late at night. It was probably like 10 o'clock, 11. And then the next day, I actually even got the dates wrong, you guys, which is really funny. The next day, that's when we had ended up heading back and to the airport, and that's when we flew out to Paris. And I believe the flight from New York to Paris was only like 6 or 7 hours. I may be wrong. I don't remember anything anymore. We got to the airport like 9 hours early. And we couldn't even like go in because I had a check-in bag, which was really funny. So they had us wait until like 6 hours before our flight, I think it was. I think my husband's calling me. He is. Speaking of the devil. Okay, we're back. Sorry. I had to answer that call. He was just getting off of work. But like I was saying, we had flew to New York. We had stayed overnight, and then that's when we flew over. And because the reason I say that you should definitely do this is because we actually flew premium economy. And I think we ended up getting those tickets for like $600. So it was like fairly cheap for premium economy. And you could like recline your legs and like the chair would recline too. It just didn't lay flat like a first class or business class or whatever. So it was really comfortable, and you got like these little screens, and then it was just like me and my husband in our own little like section. So it was really nice. I really liked it. And then over here, yeah, so 7 hours and 46 minutes later, we saw the little Eiffel Tower. I was just so happy about that. And we stayed at the Hotel l'Elysée, I think. I don't know how to say it. We actually ended up going with a friend's like vacation organizer, I don't know what you call it, and she ended up booking us like everything, and we ended up having like a personal driver, and his name was Saeed, and he was so kind. I still think about him to this day. I loved him so much. He was just the sweetest thing ever. And so like he had drove us from like all of our hotels, and then to our airport. So he picked us up from the airport, and then he took us to our hotel. And then we had stayed here because we were supposed to go to Disney. And we didn't end up making it this day, and I'll explain here pretty soon. And it was just really cute. Like they had put this on our bed, so I ended up picking this up, and then I ended up keeping the little room key pocket thing that they give you. And the room was actually really big, because from what we knew, like Parisian like hotels were fairly small, but this one was actually pretty big, and I just loved it. The next day we actually went to like a little kind of like outlet mall, and this was the day that we were supposed to go to Paris, or to Disney Paris, and the reason that we didn't end up going is because I got the ticket date wrong. So the ticket was meant for the 19th, and I thought we were supposed to be going for the 18th. So we didn't end up going. So we ended up going to a little spot. We ended up buying some new shoes, a scarf, and then we had to run back because he was meeting us to go to our other hotel. So I did end up getting a scarf at Burberry, and then one at Gucci, and then we went to L'Oreal, and this was the breakfast that we had, which was like a chocolate croissant, which was one of many, and he ended up having like an English bagel muffin type of thing, and I think he got a parfait, and then this was like some type of like breakfast sandwich, and I ended up keeping like the little flower and just taping it in. Then we ended up getting to like the actual like Paris, like the city of Paris. Where Disney Paris is, it's pretty much like on the outskirts of Paris, like the main city. But we ended up going to the Hotel La Comtesse, and I ended up keeping the card. Don't tell. But this was our room view, and this was like the entrance of the hotel. This was like the drive there, and I had really high hopes because I've been dreaming about Paris for so long. Since I was a kid, I used to be like obsessed with the TV show La Madeleine, and I feel like it reached everything. And then later that night, we actually went to the front desk because we were really hungry by the end of the night. And on our itinerary, it had like different places that we could go to, but we wanted to go somewhere that was like fairly walkable. We didn't have to like go on like a bus or like get an Uber or anything. And so we asked a hotel where they would recommend, and this meal, oh my gosh, I still think about it. I ended up getting like a chicken with mushrooms, and he ended up getting steak. And this is when we realized that all steaks come with fries and not like mashed potatoes or like anything like that. So that was kind of funny. And then this chicken was so good. I ended up seeing like what the people next to us were ordering, and they had this chicken, and I was like, that's what I want. And then we ended up getting a chocolate souffle, and then he had this really cool dessert that I'm still jealous to this day that he got this and I got a souffle. This day I came to the realization that I do not like souffles, and I'm fine with that because I at least got to try it. And to be able to say that I tried it in Paris is like one thing, but it's like this like cookie kind of crumbly feeling, and then it had ice cream in the center, and then it had chocolate on top. Oh my god, it was so good. And this was the restaurant, and we were trying to take like a selfie, and this little Parisian man was like trying to speak to us, and we were like, I had learned like a little bit of French, so I was telling him that I only know English. And he just went like this, and I was like, oh yes, please. So he ended up taking our photo. So that was really sweet. And then the next day we ended up going to the Eiffel Tower, which I still can't believe that we were able to do this. Like, a little like 5-year-old me is still trying to recover from this. So yeah, we ended up having breakfast at the hotel, and then we walked to the Eiffel Tower because it was fairly close. Like, as you could see, like from our hotel, it was like not that far. It was just like the street down, and then we were there around the corner. So my husband is actually really, really scared of heights. Like, and I was pretty worried that he didn't want to go all the way to the top, but I fully thought you had to climb up all the way. So I remember that I had actually went to the gym for a little bit just so that I could prepare for the fact that I would probably have to climb up the stairs to go all the way up to the Eiffel Tower. And I didn't have to do it. So I just like trained for nothing, you know, like, I mean, it's good to go to the gym, but, you know, and it's actually really cool because we were able to see, like, where the area that we were actually staying at, which is really cool from the very top. But, yeah, that was really cool. And then later that night, we actually went on this really, really romantic dinner. And I'm still so sad because the Notre Dame still was not open, and I ended up circling like the specifics of our dinner, and so it went down the river Seine, I don't know how you say it, and it was the Prestige and Excellence departure every evening at 20:30, and it's for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then I circled what boat we were on, and then the river that we had went on, and all of the landmarks that we passed by. So we actually ended up going to that, and then the dinner was actually really, really good, which I was kind of worried because, you know, like sometimes when you do things like here in the States, they can be kind of, you know, like just to like a cash grab, and the food actually tastes like really disgusting. And so this was our ticket, which was really cool. And this was like a photo of the Eiffel Tower from when we were there. And that's what it looked like on the outside. And then later that night, we actually went around the city. So this was actually taken on the boat, which is like one of my favorite photos of all time. I had just put my I just put my phone down, and I just like let it take like multiple photos. I don't know what you call that, but the dinner was delish. We would run back and forth from dinner into the top of the boat. We took one too many pictures after we went on a walk on the bridge, and the sparkle in your eye is one I'll never forget. So yeah, I still remember like this memory vividly. Like, we just looked at each other all the time, like, I can't believe we made it here. Like, it was just like one of those moments that was just like, I can't believe this. So this is actually a stamp from Notebook Therapy. These came from like a really, really old like craft stash that I had from Michael's, from Heidi's Swamp or something like that. And these are just all photos that I took and I was just like tearing apart. This is when I start to find my style. As you can tell, like, it's very different than like all of this. And this is when I just start finding what I actually like. So yeah, we just walked around some more because we were right next to the bridge. And we ended up going back to the hotel. And I literally stared at this view every single night for like hours. We had like these little window balcony things. And it had like concrete there. And I would sit there and I would just chill the whole time. It was so nice. I still couldn't believe it. I was just, and every single night from like 7 or 8 o'clock at night all the way till like 1 a.m. it sparkles for 5 minutes every hour at the top of the hour. So it was just, you know. This day we ended up going to the Louvre, but it's actually really funny because there's two Arcs of Triumphs. There's one that has like Arc of Triumph, which is this one, and then there's Arc of Triumph Alexandria or something like that. And we actually went to the main Arc of Triumph and it was the wrong one. So we were defeated at this point. We were like, there's no way. We were fighting jet lag so bad this day and we were like, screw it, we'll just go to McDonald's for a little bit. We'll try to talk to our travel lady, which was Carmela, and she thankfully was able to get us in, but there was only like an hour and a half left before they closed. So we were running through the whole thing. It was so funny. So yeah, it was only because we had 2 hours. So we were literally running because that museum is massive. And like we started with all the Roman statues and we finally got to see the Nike statue, which is like stunning in person. And we had saw like this little section which had like all of the astrology signs on the ceiling, and just like everything was just so beautifully decorated. We saw the Mona Lisa, which she is like this small. I did not know that. I thought she was way bigger. And we ended up getting like a bunch of pictures on the outside of the Louvre, which I still can't believe that used to be someone's house, which is crazy. And then just some more. And then it says, literally a core memory was made here. You kissing me on the top of my head and you were talking about about you having swag. Oh, I remember this. He was talking about like, he was saying like a bunch of like people and like a bunch of men that they were like French men actually dressed like very, very nice. And he's like, man, they like have like a lot of swag. Like I wish I looked like that. And I was like, you do, like you look really good. Like you look hot. What are you talking about? So I was talking about that. Like I still think about that all the time. And then later that night we actually went to Louis Vuitton and Dior and we ended up purchasing a Louis Vuitton bag, which is one of my favorite bags. And we still talk about this meal, which is from Pasco, and it was so good. And I actually didn't know that this was actually like a very famous like Instagrammable section. And yeah, we ended up having like a fish kind of situation. He ended up having like a lamb or something like that. And it was just so fresh and so good. I loved it so much. I really, really liked it there. And then this day we had like a empty day that we could do whatever. And that's when we decided that we were going to go to Disneyland Paris. So we ended up going. I wonder how you open this because I just be putting random things down in here. I don't know if you can actually see it all because it looks like it's going to be huge. Yeah, so we ended up only going, we actually went to the studio section, and we only ended up going to the entrance and to the Finding Nemo, because this was when my foot started to like hurt. If you didn't know, I have like plantar fasciitis. I feel like I can't pronounce like a lot of words today, but I have like plantar fasciitis, which is like the arch of your foot just like suddenly just drops, and it's really painful. Given I didn't bring the right shoes, like I thought to myself like, oh, I just need some like white leather Vans and I'll be solid. No, babes, no. Which I regret, and I ended up having some tennis shoes, but they didn't have like shoelaces. They were ones that were like automatically on there. They kind of like expand with your foot, and it was the biggest mistake ever. We were debating like all day whether we should go or not, and so I was finally like, you know what, like we don't know when we're coming back here, so we're gonna end up going. So we got there like 3 hours before it closed, so we took advantage of it as much as possible. I still love this photo right here, and my photo takes like, my husband takes the most unflattering photos of me, and we ended up getting like a ham and cheese sandwich there, which was really good. And yeah, it was so fun. Let me see. Yeah. And then over here, it was our first ride, and we actually did the Ratatouille ride because we had heard that it's only available in France, and then it ended up coming to Orlando like the next year. So we were like, what the heck? Yeah, that's the castle. She's so pretty. And then over here is where we had went to go see like all the fireworks and stuff. So this photo like came out strangely like colored weird, but I kind of like it. And it says, watching the 30-year anniversary light show was amazing. Enjoying Disney in another country and language was like no other, which is actually true. Like, I had thought for a second, I don't know, maybe this is my American privilege coming through, but I thought that because Disney is American, I thought that like a lot of the stuff was going to be Americanized. But no, like the whole show was in French, which was really cool. I would really, really love to go back to experience a full park for sure. And then later that night, we ended up taking the train back to the city. It's only like a 30-minute or an hour train from the city of Paris to where you need to go for Disney. And it takes you like right to the Disney park. Like, it doesn't make you like walk anywhere. It literally like takes you from the city of Paris all the way to the front of the Disneyland park, which is so convenient. And after the fireworks show, we went to Disney downtown. I got a hat and a shirt and a gift for my friend. We ended up getting a snack, then ran to the train station. We stopped at the Arc of Triumph and got our cute pictures. We grabbed some scooters, which the scooters there are so good. And we found Diana's memorial. And we had later went to a restaurant later that night that was like literally across the street from our hotel, and they were talking to us because we were like one of the last few customers there, and they were like, where are y'all from? And since we had already knew that French people generally don't like Americans, they were asking us like what ethnicity we were, and I had said Mexican, and my husband said that he was Hispanic, and they came back and they were like, do y'all want to do a tequila shot with us? And I still crack up about that to this day. It's just so funny to me. Again, he got a steak and he got fries, and I ended up getting like a salmon with some rice, and which was really good. So that was that day. Then the next day we ended up going to the Palace of Versailles. We went on a train ride and we got lost. And we ended up finding this little bakery shop, and it was maybe one of the best croissants I had on my trip there. Like, it was severely packed there, but it was so, so good. And this is the little ticket for the Palace of Versailles. This was his ticket. Yeah, so we ended up actually going earlier because of my foot pain, one, and then two, because of the train ride. We didn't know like if there were going to be any hiccups or anything, and thank God we did because we were lost for a while. My foot still hurt, but I was not going to miss this. I had this palace in my brain for years, which I was going to see it, which is true. Very true. And this is the train ride ticket right here. And then over here, it's just photos of the whole palace. Like, I have dreamt about seeing this in person since I was like a freshman in high school, maybe. So like being able to see it was really, really nice. I still think about it all the time. I basically just think about this place all the time. I took a selfie in Maria Antoinette's room, which, like, iconic. And I really liked the floors and the statues here, so we ended up taking a photo here. And this was out in the gardens, which is really, really beautiful. I really liked that photo too. And it said, I loved it here. I still think about this place, which is true. The gardens and the arches. Oh, it says the gardens were acres long. The tiny white dot on the bottom is a statue of the King Louis that he didn't like. So it's like all the way back here. Like, it's like in there in like the information form, but we had like a guide that she had told us like a bunch of facts, which somebody had made King Louis a statue of him and he didn't like it, so he put it all the way in the back of the pond. And then later that night, I thought we were going to be crazy to go to the Versailles and then go back to the hotel, change super fast, and then get a cab over to Moulin Rouge, and I'm so glad we did it. It says you couldn't take pictures during the show, which is true. I was actually really sad about that, but the show was amazing. A girl swam with a massive snake. I feel like nobody would believe me if I told them that. And a guy was balancing on like the strangest things ever. So, really loved that night. And then it says romance. You did the most romantic thing that night. Immediately after the show, you grabbed the closest cab, overpriced driver, rushed us over to the Eiffel Tower to see it sparkle for the last time. We then took a scooter around the city, and you let me watch the Eiffel Tower for another hour just sitting there. I love this night, and I cried. I literally did cry. Like, because it was our last and final night that we were going to be in Paris. I literally sobbed. And then it says, we took the bus back to the hotel and grabbed some food. I packed and got ready to go to Rome. And then here we finally are in Rome. It says the hotel in Rome was amazing. It had a king bed, which is true. Back in Paris, we only had like, I wouldn't even call it a queen. I would say it's like a full-size bed. But here they actually had a king bed, and the shower had a bench, which we both really, really loved. Just like sitting in showers. And it was so roomy compared to Paris. So it was really, really nice. And then over here is the day that we decided to go to the Vatican. It says we Ubered to a coffee shop that was about 25 minutes and we waited about 25 minutes for another couple, but they never showed up. So we got a private tour of the Vatican, which was really, really cool. It was beautiful inside, so much history, and to say that we saw Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel is wild. I'm still so sad that we could not take photos or videos of that. But yeah, this was when we went to the Vatican, which these are our tickets. And we just have like a bunch of photos in here from that. It says this place was beautiful. It was so nice. Our tour guide stayed with us for an extra hour, and I think he saw how we were in awe. It was just so beautiful. Ugh, I miss it. Somebody take me back. And it says, we were starving after the museum. We knew it would be a bit overpriced. It still tasted good. Italy for sure beat Paris food in the price. This was the first of many carbonaras for me. And then I put the receipt right here. Everything's already starting to fade. It's making me so sad. And then later that day we stayed in and we ate we ate all the cannolis that we got from the restaurant earlier, which was this place right here. And then we walked 2 blocks to Amindo. They let us have a table outside, and for not having a reservation, it was about 2 or 3 hours long. Yeah, like the dinners in Italy are always like minimum 2 hours. They literally take their time. They have like the slowest pace of life, and I think that's one of the many things that I actually loved. And this day we actually were going to Tuscany. So today we got an Uber to meet with our group. We had some issues with our ticket, but they figured it out. Our bus showed about 20 minutes later, and the torture began for you when the bus didn't have AC and it was really bumpy. My husband has really bad motion sickness, but 2 hours later we made it to our first stop, and we got a snack after. On the bus we made it to Tuscany, and it was stunning. So yeah, this is the Isla del Popolo. It was just so pretty there. Oh my gosh. We stopped in a village for about 2 hours, and it was so pretty. You could see out for miles, and you're not allowed to drive on this village if you don't live there, which I understand, because look how damn small the streets are. Look how small the streets are, you guys. So if you actually don't live there and you're just a tourist, you're not allowed to drive there. And then I have this little guy. And we went to a wine tasting. We got on a bus after visiting the oldest church, which was, yeah, so it was like this little area. You bought me oil dispensers in a little shop, which we actually have in our kitchen, and we had a wine tasting with a charcuterie board and bad pasta. That was like the first time we had bad pasta in Italy, and only time that we had bad pasta in Italy. It was a beautiful experience, and then we headed back to Rome. And then later that night, this was our favorite meal in Italy. You had lasagna, and I got pasta carbonara again. Then you had lamb, and I got a fish, and then we got a gelato down the street from our hotel. This was like our favorite meal. It was so good. This was the 27th. Today was my dad's birthday, so we called him right when we woke up. We then went to the Colosseum, but they couldn't let us in because they had an issue with Carmela, which was our travel agent, and I went to order us new pair of tickets, so we didn't risk an issue. We got around the city, and I got coffee, which I still think about that cappuccino. This was like, we stayed in bed all day, mainly because of my foot. We went to get a pizza and some gelato. My foot was still in pain really bad, but I was fighting through, you guys. I was like, I am not letting it take over. We had went around the city since we had to wait for a group, so it was about 2 hours from our original time, and it was fun yelling look rocks, because everything on the floor. So like, the thing about me is I don't like seeing like sculptures and stuff on the floor. Like I want to see them actually like pieced together. And I would just look at it like, oh my God, like there's nothing here. And he would just laugh at me, and he'd be like, look, rocks. And so that's like what he would say to me all the time, which is really funny. And then we finally got into the Colosseum, which was like the one thing that he had always wanted to see. So Eiffel Tower was my thing. Him was a Colosseum, which like what man doesn't want to see the Colosseum? So yeah, that was really cool. And I did do the Lizzie McGuire, like, hey now, hey now. And he did his whole little gladiator type of situation. So I said, imagine you soaking up the sun at the Colosseum after dreaming all your life to go since you were a child. That's what I think of when I see this photo of you, which is really cute. After viewing the Colosseum, our ticket gave us access to the Roman city. After that, we stayed for about an hour to people watch and listen to the Piano Man. It's maybe one of my favorite memories of Rome. Yeah, there was this guy that he was just playing like a bunch of music, and we were just sitting there, just people watching everybody. It was so nice. And dinner with the view, romance in Roma. After viewing the Colosseum, we went back to the hotel to shower and rest before dinner. I surprised you with the dinner that was right in front of the Colosseum, and it was beautiful at night. It was lit up and so bright and warm. I had ciao de pepe, and you had ravioli, and later asked for a fish. They deboned the fish in front of us, which was really cool. You talked with the waiter because he knew Spanish, lol. I think the guy was Colombian or something like that, and my husband is Salvadorian, so like their Spanish is very similar. Mexican Spanish is like a little bit different, but I had a hard time understanding them because Salvadorian Spanish is, I say it's fairly different, because their pace of speaking is very, very like fast, and I feel like Mexicans, like, we just speak at the pace that we want to speak. Like, it's only fast in novelas, and that's about it. So yeah, this was later that night, and then when we had went to the dinner, they had like took a photo of us, which was really sweet. And then this day we ended up going to, what is this place called? I don't remember. It's like, I think it was a church. It's a Piazza della Rotonda, if that helps. Our last day is here, and we went to the longest standing church. It was beautiful. We had headphones and did the tour alone, which was refreshing. We walked around the Pisa and got some food. Then to my favorite place, the Trevi. So that was really cool. And then over here is the Trevi. This photo always gives me the vibes of like, oh, look at my mom. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, with my hair blowing and stuff. Like, it's just so funny to me. This little horse was actually in love with me, okay? Like, I was petting him, and, like, his eyes were, like, softly, I think I still have the video, like, softly, like, opening and closing, and the owner was, like, trying to make him move, and I wasn't aware of it, and he wouldn't move, because I just was touching him. It says we went to the Trevi right after the pizza, and we went to a cafe nearby. We had lunch, and it was really cute and nice. We, of course, had our millionth lasagna, and it was packed full there. The people were getting yelled at for sitting on the edge. Oh, that's at the Trevi. And we giggle. We got our COVID test done, too. During this time, you actually had to get COVID tested before you got on a flight to any European city. So we had to get a COVID test while we were going, and then we had to get a COVID test when we were going from Paris to Italy, and then we had to get another one from Italy to the US. So we had to get our nose, or was it our nose swab? Yeah, our nose is swabbed like a lot. Here is the underground of the Trevi, which is really cool. After the Trevi, we went to the underground area of the Trevi, and it was so cool. It used to be a home and had some things displayed of artifacts. I remember it being so cold. There weren't a lot of people, but it was fairly hidden. We only found it because of TikTok. And I still can't believe it's gonna get banned. Like, the amount of things that I learned from there. So, yeah, there was only like maybe 4 people in here. And it was only like $5. Later that night, we had wandered around the area, accidentally stumbled across the Spanish Steps, and then found the Lux shopping area and did some damage. You got your first Louis. And here are the Spanish Steps here, and the bag that he ended up getting himself. And I ended up getting 2 bags here, I think. And this was our last meal. We were so tired from walking. We ordered our favorite from the Antica Boheme. You, of course, got lasagna, and I got carbonara. This was the best. And let's go up in the clouds. And here you go. And that's it. I didn't put anything about coming back home from New York because that was insane. Like, we couldn't even get on a flight to get home, and we had to sleep on like a trolley. So I didn't want to put any of those memories in there. I just wanted to put all the good ones in here. So I really had a lot of fun putting this together, and I really hope that I get to go back to Europe really soon, and I just really loved this. So I really hope you guys enjoyed coming through my travel memories with me. I would love to know, do you make journals with all of your with your travels? Do you make journals with them, or do you just kind of let them sit in your phone? What is your way of like keeping the memory alive? But yeah, that is everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.